CNT125 remote lab. First part, we did all the connections for our network. That's been completed. So now second part here, we're going to dig in and start putting configuration on the router. The nice part is this is a repeat of the last lab, so a lot of this will look familiar, but it'll also be some good practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do all the basic config, name, IP address, and OSPF config on the first router, and then I'm going to repeat it for the other router. That way I'm doing as much as I can on one to start with, and then I'll go to the other one. So laptop, desktop, we're going to go terminal, 9600.8.9.1 none, say OK. Enable, config T, let's give it a name, host name. And this one we're going to do at least Harrisburg router, something of that effect. After I have the host name in, well, I think in the lab I have it Cisco 2011, so I could do, let me do upname here, and we'll do Harrisburg 2811 router, something like that. That way I know it's the Harrisburg router as opposed to the Philly router. Alright, let's do our interfaces. So interface on this guy, we have fast Ethernet 0/0 on this guy. IP address, alright. Well, this is where I probably want to keep my, I'm going to move my packet tracer console over here. I'm going to keep my map handy. So for this one, we have 192.168.100.1 is the IP right there. And we need the subnet mask default C, 255.255.255.0. No shutdown. Make sure this gets turned on. Okay, and I'm seeing that that is coming on, so I don't actually need to check. That little command is letting me know it's coming online. I'm going to do exit. I'm going to use up arrows to pick my other interface. IP address on this one, 10.10.10.1. If I take a look up here, default A subnet mask. No shutdown on this guy. Now this one will try to turn on, but it'll turn off because the other link has not been configured yet. So we'll just need to let that ride. Let's do our routing protocol config. So router OSPF 2. Remember, that's a process ID. We now need all three networks. So 192.168.100.0 network number. Host portion is zeros. We need the inverse mask. So 0.0.0.255. Area 0. Let me make this a little wider here. There we go. We need the link between, so network 10.0.0.0. Remember, host portions go to 0 in a network number. Okay, host portion is these three pieces here, 3 octets here are host. Inverse mask 0, 255.255.255. Area 0. We now need the other network, the 172.32 over here. So network 172.32.0. Oh my goodness. 32.0.0. Inverse mask 0, 0, 255.255 area 0. And that will be my OSPF config. I'll do a show run right here. Make sure name looks good. I'm going to make sure my IP addresses look good. I'm looking for typos. Looking good, and I'm also double checking these, making sure these all look okay. And they do. So I'm going to do a copy, run start right now. So I'm saving this config. I'll close this router out. I'll save my packet tracer file while I'm gone. And now I'm going to repeat this exact same process on the Philadelphia router. So terminal over here. Enable, config T, host name on this guy. We're going to do Philly 4321 router. Oh my goodness, look at that typo. There, up arrow is your friend. Okay, let's do our interfaces. This guy is gigabit 0, 0, 0. Okay, so let me slide this over. And on this one, gigabit 000 is this interface right here. So IP address 10, 10, 10, 2, 255, 0, 0, 0. No shutdown. This link should now come online because both sides of this link have now been configured. Let's do the other interface. Gigabit Ethernet 0/0/1. IP address on this guy right here 172.32.0.1. 172.32.0.1. Subnet mask default B. No shutdown on this guy. Okay, so there's my interfaces. Router OSPF2. Network on this one. We need all three networks. So 192, 168, 100, 0. Host portion goes to 0. 0, 0, 0, 255, area 0. Make that just a skosh wider. Network. This one right here, all host portions go to 0, so 10, 0, 0, 0, 0, 255, 255, 255, area 0. Network 172.32.0.0, 0, 255, 255. Don't let that throw you. Keep going. Area 0. So there's my network command complete. We'll do exit, exit. Let's do a show run. Just make sure everything looks okay here. There's my name. Here's my first IP, my first interface and IP looks good. Second interface IP looks good. I want to make sure all three networks are here, which they are. Looking good. So I'm going to do a copy, run, start on this guy as well. And I'll close him and I'll save my packages file. So I should now have, let me scroll down through our lab here, host name, interface, and routing protocol on both routers. That has been completed. So I kind of did all that on one router, then did all that on the other router, just to make sure I have all the pieces. Okay. So I'm seeing green blinking link lights. That's a good check. We're not doing the full check of the network yet, but at least see that so far. Let's now add the remote configuration in. And we need to create this password on both routers, so I will do one, then the other one. So the first thing we need to do here, we need to create a enable password. All right, well, let me do this real quick. When I do enable, you'll notice it changes right to that mode. Well, to go to admin mode, I want to put a password in there so Joe Schmo can't get there. So to do that, go to configure terminal, or config T. We want to put the command in, enable. We're going to set the enable password. We're going to encrypt it, and we're going to set the password to class. So we're going to say, hey, the enable password, please encrypt, and set it to the word class. The enable password, please encrypt, set it to the word class. So double check it all. Make sure you don't have spaces out here, because spaces then would become part of the password. So make sure you don't have spaces out there. And then I'm going to hit the enter key. If I notice an error, immediately hit up arrow and fix it now. Try to fix that now. Don't wait. Okay? So there's my enable password on the first router. Let me see if I can do it on the other router right now. 96.168.919. All right. Config T. Enable secret class. Enable password. Please encrypt and set it to the word class. Enable password, encrypt, please set it to the word class. Enter. So now both of these, if I were to exit out back to the beginning and do the enable command, it's going to say, hey, what's the password, which is class. I'll need to type it with some confidence here, because as I do enable, it prompts me for a password. When I type the password, the cursor does not move. Okay, that's fine. Type with confidence. Hit the enter key. Now I'm in enable mode. All right. So there's my enable password. That's the first thing we need to do. We now need to create a global account that can be used for telnet or remote access. So I'm on the Philadelphia router, so I'm just going to do this while I'm here. Actually, no, let me stick to the lab. Let me stick to the lab. I'll go over to Harrisburg here. I need to create this global username, if you will, username and password that can be used for logins. So we're going to do username. I'm going to set it to Doug. You can use your first name if you wish. Password and password. So I'm going to say, hey, please use the username of Doug and please use the password of password. So Doug is the username and password's the password. Doug is the username, password's the password. If you want to use, Sally or John or Frank or Bill or Susie here, that's fine. Just make sure you have everything in here correctly with no typos. All right, so I have set that. I have created that. And now I'm going to end up using that in my configuration. Well, I'm on the Harrisburg router, so I'm going to finish this. So I'm going to do this part here on the Harrisburg router. I'm going to say, all right, hold on one second. I got excited. I got ahead of myself. I want to repeat this on the other router as well. So I'm going to go to the Philadelphia router. And let's do the same thing over here. Config T, username, Doug, password again. There we go. I'm setting the username to Doug. I'm setting the password to the word password. Again, make sure you don't have any spaces or anything odd here at the end. I'm going to hit the enter key. Now, that is a global account that can be used for remoting in, telnet, SSH, whatever. I can apply that wherever I need that. All right, so I have that done on both routers. Okay. Let me go back to the Harrisburg router now, and we are going to enable telnet for use on the Harrisburg router. So to do that, I'm going to enable the virtual terminals. That's what we have right here. Line VTY015. I'm saying, hey, configure the virtual terminals and allow through the virtual terminals, through the virtual access transport input, oh my goodness, telnet. So allow access to these virtual terminals via telnet, and please prompt them for a username and password from this local account. And that local account is this that we created previously. Username, Doug, password. So that will have to get used for the telnet, for somebody to access via telnet. We're going to say exit. We're going to say exit. We're going to say copy, run, start. And I will do a show run here as well. Actually, I did those backwards, but here is the telnet access configuration right here. Okay. Let's now jump over to the Philly router, and we're going to do SSH on this guy. So jumping down here, we need one or two more steps on this one. We need IP domain name CNT.org. That is necessary for the next step. Crypto key generate RSA. So we're going to generate an encryption key using RSA encryption. I do want to replace anything that's here with a new key, and we're going to use 1024 instead of 512. I need that for future things we do. So now I create an encryption key that when somebody connects to SSH, there's an encryption key to use. We'll now enable the virtual terminals for this router, 015, and we are going to say on this one, transport input SSH. So instead of telnet, we're going to do SSH on this one. Again, we're going to say login local, so use this username Doug, password that created previously for them to access. We'll say exit. We'll do a show run. Here is that username and password we created. Keep going. Down here is the SSH. And we'll do a copy, run, start on this guy. And what I will also do before I get too far is also do a save on my packet tracer file too. So now we have both routers configured with the necessary passwords, and then enabling telnet for this router to be able to access it via telnet, and SSH for this one, including the encryption key.